I want to echo something that Josh brought up, and that is that there is some hope. Times right now are very dark, but there is some hope that this period of hysteria that we're in about immigrants will go away. My Irish ancestors came here when the potatoes got blight in the home country, and came to America for a better life, and the Brahmins in Boston called them scum of the earth, unfit to be Americans, and burned their Catholic churches. Okay? And 100 years later, we elected John F. Kennedy to be president. Okay? The end of the 19th century, the United States was really exercised about Asians. Okay? Passed the Chinese Exclusion Act in the 1880s, which is our first immigration law to keep Asians out of the country, and various restrictions on Japanese immigration. Tonight we heard from Senator Mazie Hirono, an immigrant from Asia to the United States. Okay? In the early 20th century, our country moved to limit immigration from Southern and Eastern Europe. Northern Europe's cool, but Southern and Eastern Europe were not cool at the time because Italians were coming in and they weren't fit to be Americans, and Jews from Eastern Europe were fleeing pogroms there, and they were not fit to be Americans either. Today, we don't have any problem with Italians, and, well, some people have problems with Jews, apparently, but most of us don't. We live very well together. Then in the 1980s, when we had many migrants fleeing social unrest in Central America, the good people of 13 different churches in the United States band together and came together as sanctuary congregations to protect these people from our government that's trying to send them back to places where they would be at risk for their lives. Okay? That's happening today here at Harris United Methodist Church. I think we ought to give these folks here, this congregation, a big round of applause for their work. Okay, this hysteria is going to pass, but it's going to pass because good people like you and me stand up and speak truth and reason to power. Now, on the issue of the concentration camps, this is in the laps of our congressional delegation. Okay, if you live here in Honolulu on this side, that's Ed Case. If you're from the Windward side or from one of the what we used to call the Outer Islands, then it's Tulsi Gabbard. Go to the office, the representative's office, and let them know how you feel about these concentration camps. Ed Case has still not come out and made a statement against the concentration camps. Please go to his office and say that you feel very strongly about this and you wish he would get off his okole and say something positive about this. If you're from the Windward side and Tulsi Gabbard is your representative, go to her office and say, please, can Tulsi use a bit of the spotlight she's getting from her run for president to say what's going on at the border and raise people's consciousness about the terrible things that are happening in our names at the border. Another thing you can do, this is a local issue, Hawaii J20 has sponsored and pushed a HOKIPA bill. You might have read about it in the papers. It's basically a sanctuary state bill which is designed to make sure that local law enforcement agents are not giving their time to ICE, so that we're not getting taxed twice, once at the local level and once at the federal level, for immigration enforcement, which is a totally federal responsibility here. That bill has passed the Senate with Stanley Chang's gracious help 2 years in a row now, but both years it has died in the House where it goes into committee and is not heard by the committee. If any of you are here from Pearl City and your representative is Greg Takayama, please go talk to Greg and let him know that you have very strong feelings about your immigrant neighbors. Okay, we have 40,000 or so undocumented immigrants in the state. Many of them have been here for 10 or 20 years. They're doing agricultural work. They're doing other kinds of work. Many of them have married and have lived in what are called mixed status families. You probably know somebody who is either living with or is a so-called illegal immigrant. Trump is coming after these folks, okay? Trump is coming after these folks, and I, for one, don't want our local police officers to be helping round up neighbors and breaking up families for some cockamamie reason, okay? So if you can, talk to your state representatives. The Senate's fine, don't worry about your senator. Talk to your the House of Representatives, your representative, and ask them to support the HOKIPA bill next session. Thank you very much for coming. Continue to do good work. Aloha.